Hello, everyone. Well, the Cardinals get through another game against another tough opponent. It did not go their way. That's the short version. We'll jump into more of that here in a second. But first, this is We Are the Game. I'm Michael, and that's Luke. And we are really reminiscing at the moment over this really structured, difficult path that the Arizona Cardinals have had. So, just to briefly go back over the road that they're on right now, for the last number of weeks would be the Colts. They're a pretty good team. The Packers, phenomenal. Cowboys, who at the time were not what they are at the moment, but y'all beat us up. The Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Bucks. You're heading to the Rams and the resurgent Texans. Like, this is a brutal. I'm not sure that I know of a harder block in a schedule that's that long in all of football. And it certainly has not gone the way that I think we had hoped. You know, when you go into a rough patch like that, I think most people say, man, if we could split these games 50-50, that'd be great. Hasn't quite gone that way. But it seems like most of these games, all but the division ones, have all been basically one-score kind of games. So they go up against the Bucks. The Bucks, I kind of thought, and we talked about beforehand, we kind of come in and handle this game. But once again, Arizona finds a way to make it a one-score game. That's like a one mistake kind of a differential between these two teams. What do you think, or how do you feel like the story is on this game, or what would you kind of have as your kind of takeaways as you watched it?
Well, people talk about, even the coaches talked about still, which is we've found ways to compete in games, but there's like this whole, we got to be a team that knows how to go and win a game. There's just this difference, this different gear you got to have at the end of the game. And if it's not clear by now that we don't have that, I don't know what to tell you. That is not something that we excel at all. I have called it in the past a player, like an individual player, like Dak Prescott, right? He's got some, what I used to refer to as go get it. It's like, hey, we're down by 7 in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left. Dak, go get it. Just go get it. Patrick Mahomes is kind of the perfect example of this. Was like, oh, he's got 13 seconds. That's plenty. I'll even have time to grab a drink, kind of a thing. We don't have any of that. And part of that is because we've been heavily relying on a backup quarterback. But even before that, it didn't feel like Kyler and company did that particularly well. They did it a bit better last year, where we talked about some games where we won 3 or 4 games in a row by last-second field goals, where now it's the opposite, where it's just we're always coming up on the tail end of things. And so it has been frustrating to watch, but at this point, it has finally gotten to the point where I just kind of expect it. Like, it's just like, hey, we're down by 3 with 2 minutes left. We're not going to win this game. They're going to either find a way to lose or come up just short at the right moment, or we're going to be playing against a really good team that has more clutch than we do. So, not to try to sound super pessimistic, but I don't know a way that you put a positive spin on it at this point when we've, 7 games in a row that we've like one-score games or something like that. It was wild. They said we're setting all kinds of dubious history marks, so that's pretty awesome. So
I mean, definitely over the course of the season, the number of one-score games is pretty wild. I mean, it's really those 2 divisional games, the Seahawks and the 49ers games, were like the games that were beyond that scope. But yeah, and it's just strange. You and I were mentioning earlier is, you know, when you see scores this close, it's like, well, is this just the one mistake kind of a gap between the two teams? Because again, when we look at a lot of the stats, it's like Bam Knight had a pretty good game. I mean, it was good to see Bucky Irving back out. Just from he's been injured for a while kind of a thing. Bam Knight probably had as good a game, if not better. He didn't get in the end zone running, but had one receiving. But had a great game. So it's very comparable. There wasn't a blowout play from the Bucks in receiving either. Chris had a good Godwin had a good game, but it wasn't like these big killer plays or anything. It's just nickel and diming each other back and forth on these that seem to be the thing. And you were pointing out that y'all ultimately lost the turnover battle. Bam had that fumble. There was an interception. But then I think you were saying that there was probably a little bit more to that story than that even. Is like there was a couple other situations that kind of felt like they were getting handed over a little bit, making life a little easier on the Bucks.
Oh yeah, no, it's you see the turnovers if you're just looking at the box score and you see us like 1 interception, 1 fumble, and yeah, we lost the game. That's losing the turnover battle. But it's worse than that. And it kind of has to be to make sense of the math here because we had a lot more yardage.
Yes.
We had 125 yards more or something like that. So and the penalties, I don't believe, were really skewed against us or anything like that. No, the penalties weren't bad at all in this game. Sorry, I had to double check there to remember, but no, it was not bad. I felt like most of the officiating this weekend was actually fairly decent. I don't know if they had enough turkey to put them to sleep. I'm not sure, but we should do it more
I'm
often.
all for it. Yeah.
But it's not just the interception and the fumble. We're also 0-2 on 4th down, which unless you're arm punting, which would still count as a turnover because it'd be an interception. But like those are turnovers. So we're 0 for 4. No, we're losing the turnover battle badly, giving them better field position. So they don't have all the yardage, but they didn't need all the yardage. They also had Bucky Irving returning, and that makes them better on the ground. I mean, he didn't have a prolific day, but he damaged us enough. So he consistently helped them extend drives and get into scoring position and things like that. And so it's years ago we talked about it on the reverse side of this. It's like, oh, that's great that you had 60 yards, but it ended in an interception or it ended in a fumble or whatever. It's like those 60 yards don't matter. I'll get into this now. They talked in the game about Jacoby Brissett setting this stupid record of like, six games in a row or 6 games in a row with 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it's just like, and we lost all but one of those games. So it really doesn't matter. And I know some people are trying to weaponize that like, yeah, because he's better than Kyler Murray. And I'm just like, yeah, that also means he's better than Carson Palmer, better than Kurt Warner. It's like, I think these are empty stats. And I don't know a better way to suggest it than to suggest that what you're saying then is that he's better than Kurt Warner. So I'm just going to say that thanks announcers for trying to make us feel a little better, but stop. For the love of everything, please stop. So we need to stop setting dubious records. It's just backhanded compliments at this point. So that's enough rant.
It is. Well, it's you see, having been on the south end of seasons myself, it's you start looking for silver linings. Like, what is going well? What are we looking forward to kind of down the road? It's like, okay, beyond the draft, not just the draft, but what else? What else do we think we've got some good things going? And one of the things that I was looking at as we were talking about this game was, Tampa is really more of a high-end offense than they are a bulwark defense. They're a good defense, but really, again, Baker was almost held without a touchdown. I mean, he gets a touchdown on like a trick play to an offensive tackle, right? It's like that's a strange play for him to kind of I wanted to say weasel, but that seemed like the wrong thing. Like get a touchdown off of for a guy who's as good as he is at scoring. I felt like the defense really had a pretty good day, and I would think one of the unsung heroes in that is Josh Sweat, who I think has been a great, like really proven, I think, to be a phenomenal acquisition for you guys. You and I were talking about it's kind of exciting that he's the contract that you have with him, and he's going to be around for a bit. I think that's going to turn out really good. I mean, were you happy or kind of maybe even impressed with the defense and maybe in general as the season kind of goes on with their week-to-week showing?
Yeah, the defense did not feel like the issue today. There have been weeks where I felt like the defense just kind of came up short and they were the guys that couldn't clutch up a stop and those kind of things. But this was not that week. I mean, they allowed 20 points to Baker Mayfield in that offense. So I think any team that does that, you did pretty well. I understand that Baker's a bit encumbered right now with this injury with his non-throwing shoulder, but still, there are a lot of players on that team that can hurt you. So, and the return of Chris Godwin recently has made them even more dangerous. So, I was actually very happy with the defense. I'm extremely happy with the I say affordable. It's not my money, but the rather affordable from a fan's perspective, Josh Sweat contract. We're getting
Yeah.
11. We've got 11 sacks for him, and then you've got 19 million, and you've got guys out there with 40 and 47 million and things like that who may have the same number. Like, I'm not saying he's as good as Micah Parsons, but he's not Micah's not twice as good. And so since they're paying more than twice as much, it really makes it easier. So I'm very happy with the Josh Sweat signing. There are silver linings, I suppose, for this season. They're just surrounding very dark storm clouds. So they're hard to see, or they're hard to focus on. It's probably another way of putting it. So there's some good defensive plays. I hate that we're wasting this Calais Campbell year where he's decided to come back. That's one of my biggest regrets for this season, is that he's come back to this mess. But we'll see. He just loves playing football, so I do appreciate that for him. But yeah, no, the defense did play well. I am overall very happy with them. It was good to see Will Johnson come back and play again. Played pretty well. So we didn't get the turnovers, but we did really stymie their production. So that is something.
Yeah, and I'd forgotten to think about Will. Because he was a real bright spot. It's just, man, I want to see him stay healthy the rest of the year to really get a feel for how effective he is, and also just give him a chance to get some experience and learn a few more tricks of the trade there. I think the defense has been a bright spot, and I know that there's potentially even maybe unneeded controversy around the whole quarterback position, but it's like you can get offense out of the personnel you have in offense. It's that, like you were saying, it's that ability to push beyond and get effective offense, to get into the end zone, limit mistakes, all of that seems to be missing or underdeveloped. Who knows? With all of that, I don't know. It's frustrating because it's still a challenging road. There's no it's okay, we've got a get right game coming in 5 weeks. Like, it's not a lot of, you'll get to play the Bengals later. And now that Joe Burrow's back, right? So it's a tough road the rest of the season for sure. But we'll have to see how you play in the division. The division is always a strange place against the Rams that you have twice coming up. It's still before the end of the season. But we'll get more into that here later. We'll wrap it up there. So, thanks everybody for joining in and talking with us about the Cardinals or the Bucs. Please feel free to put in a like or subscribe or chat with us in the chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts and, commiserate with us on the Cardinals and their season or whatever comes to mind. But outside of that, have a great day.